Oh, so is it still there? Well, there's 7 waiting at the moment. I don't know if I'm live yet. But on this, yes, we're live now. So hopefully people are watching. Really appreciate it. It's still there. Well, yes, actually, you can actually hear me. So welcome tonight. Thanks for the people who've come and started watching the stream. Really appreciate it. It's probably going to be all the regulars that come, and I really appreciate that, as you know. It's myself and Ben from North Cinematics. Don't forget to subscribe to his channel, and if you haven't subscribed to mine, subscribe. Well, all those people waiting, it's gone down to 3 now. so today, anyway, we're talking about YouTube and where we think it's going wrong, how much it's changed, and 1 or 2 instances that have happened recently. So anyway, Ben, say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Cheers. So yeah, YouTube. Have you seen recently, Ben, there's a channel and a Twitter guy that I watch. He's called 8 Thoughts, and I think you watch the guy as well. Apparently he's got his 2nd strike because of a video about Jack Frags, which I don't personally think was abusive. I don't think it was harassment. He basically made a video. Have you actually seen it, Ben?
Yeah, I've seen the video, and he basically makes a video about Jack Frags, saying that YouTubers like Jack Frags are the reason that basically have loads of people using the same weapons to do these,
like the meta loadouts.
Yeah, and they end up just copying that meta weapon, and it basically just ruins Call of Duty. And I understand the bigger point that he's trying to make, which is that essentially YouTubers like that ruin the sort of community and the game. And then YouTube was basically saying, "Oh, that's cyberbullying," even though he never really even addressed Jack Frags.
No, it just so happens that the video was titled Jack Frags. Yeah, but what bothers me is that he was just highlighting the fact that when these YouTubers, these influential people, because the kids out there and even adults will watch these people, and if they put, the loadout that is the new meta, then everyone starts using it. And to a certain extent, I think again, to a certain extent, it does spoil the game, because you see people running about with exactly the same loadout.
Well, it does, because, I mean, I understand that obviously because he's a YouTuber and it's his full-time job, so, he's going to make videos on things that he thinks he's going to get views on. And one of the things that a lot of YouTubers do, I see Wesley do this as well, he'll do... So sort of looking at the weapons that he thinks are the best. And then obviously because they've got massive audiences, if you're getting, say, 1 million views, then you're going to bound to have a lot of people that are going to copy that loadout because they're going to see it. So, I mean, I understand both sides.
And you've got to appreciate that this is what they've got to do.
Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, he's doing it because that's what the audience that he's making videos for
expect, I suppose, yeah.
So I understand both sides of the argument. Like, I understand what 8 Thoughts is saying, but at the end of the day, that's just YouTube, and I mean, he's a YouTuber as well. He makes stuff, and that's just YouTube. And obviously, I understand that 8 Thoughts is making a video on Jack Frags because he wants views, and Jack Frags is making videos on weapons because he wants views. So it's, I
don't understand where the actual strike come from, though.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, the strike doesn't make any sense. That's pointless.
No.
It's not cyberbullying.
No, and that's exactly what I'm saying is that, all right, if he'd actually been bullying, or you could see he was picking on someone or being personal about someone, then you could actually understand. But I honestly don't see anywhere in that video, and I'm sorry, the video's actually gone now, so they've obviously told him to take it down, but when he's talking about people spoil the game, and it was just so happens he titled it Jack Frags, and he talked about Jack Frags, and he actually said he doesn't apologize for saying it because Jack Frags is one of these people that does it, that make these loadout videos, and then everyone wants to use it. To me, it really doesn't bother me, because I'll just go on and pick pretty much any loadout. I don't actually usually get to the point where I can get to a loadout box and I can get my loadout anyway. But I totally agree with what you say, Ben, is the fact that these people do it for a living, so they've got to do this because, you know, these people who watch these channels expect this from these content creators, and, you know, this is where they make their living. Totally understand that. I just don't understand where the actual strike come from, and he's actually got two now, because do you know the original one? Do you know what that was for, Ben? I just want to say hello, Slavic, how you doing, mate? Do you know what the first one was for?
Was it to do with the nitmerks?
Yeah, it was the nitmerks, and he basically took the piss out of his thumbnails with the open mouth and the surprise look. And he actually got a strike for that. And he wasn't actually worried, because he thought, you know, once I challenged that strike, because all I was doing is having a bit of fun, having a joke about his thumbnails being, you know, surprised, open mouth, and the strike stood. So I don't get that one, Ben.
Crazy. Yeah, I know that he tried to appeal it, and YouTube had apparently manually reviewed it and said, no,
it was harassment and abuse,
I mean, how crazy is that? Like, I mean, it's got to the point on YouTube where you pretty much can't say anything, because he makes a good point, 8 Thoughts, because he made a video on his second channel. So he talked about the fact that obviously when you're criticising games, does that count as cyberbullying? Because if you're saying I'm not happy with that game, developers, are you harassing the developers now? Can you actually?
Is there going to be abuse then, Ben? Is there going to be abuse like the copyright claims? Exactly. You know, there's a massive abuse over that. You know, if someone like 8 Thoughts is getting a strike because of, for me, and I'm sorry, YouTube, I'm not swearing, but I'm sorry, it's absolutely ridiculous that someone would get a strike just for, you know, having a bit. You know, you could put it under satire. That he was just taking the piss. He wasn't even. It was no way abusive. And he actually said that. You know, you'll see 8 Thoughts. He'll say, "Look, I'm only joking. It's satire. I'm just taking the piss," because that's what 8 Thoughts is all about. And I just think it's unfortunate, not just, you know, keeping on 8 Thoughts. I think it's unfortunate that YouTube has sort of come to this place. Because we know, you know, previously what YouTube used to be like, and it was very abusive at one point, and there was a lot of channels that sort of lived on the fact that they were abusive. They called it edgy. I don't think it was edgy. There was a lot of harassment and abuse, but you know, since your initial YouTube journey, Ben, how much do you think it's changed?
I mean, even in the last 5 years since when I was creating YouTube, the whole landscape of YouTube was completely different. I mean, it's basically unrecognizable. Even like 5 years ago, I'd never would have expected YouTube to ever become like this. And then when I think about when I first came onto YouTube, I mean, YouTube was pretty much just, well, what it used to be was broadcast yourself, which was just basically put whatever you want out there.
Exactly.
Just make a video on it. But now it's become, I mean, over the years, it became more corporate, and because investors and companies started wanting to put adverts on it. And what happened as well is, you know, you'd have these big companies saying, oh, we don't want our adverts next to that sort of content.
Correct.
And then it got worse and worse and worse. And now we've got to the point where you actually can't say anything that. But
look, mate. I mean, the apocalypse all started when one of the Paul brothers did that video about the suicide person in Japan, and do you know what? Their channels are still there. If anything, something like that should be an instant ban from YouTube. I don't care what anyone says.
With that, and I would agree.
Do you know what I mean?
We're getting rid of their because posting shit like that. That's, you know, nobody wants to see that shit. Like, I don't think,
because that is abusive.
Yeah, I don't think it's edgy. I don't think it's interesting. I mean, some people might disagree, but I just don't think that sort of shit belongs on YouTube. But if you wanna just make content that, you know, you think's interesting, and because I understand as well, like there's this bit where it's like, okay, who decides the rules? But I think you have like just like legal shit that you can't say.
You've got to adhere to, yeah.
But then you have just stuff that's just if you want to be negative about something, you want to give your opinion on something. I don't think someone should be banned for that.
No, definitely
because
not.
Then you start getting down this rabbit hole of like who decides what's right and who decides what's wrong, and that's a really dangerous place. And I mean that's where YouTube's going. Which is
I personally think so, yeah, and it is a shame because it was a place where people could just make content, not worry about getting strikes, and some of these people like Eight Thoughts. This is their livelihood at the end of the day, and I think it's quite a dangerous precedent to be taking. But I'm just going to go to Emerald there just before we totally forget about the subject we were talking about. He said, I don't care about meta. I usually try to get 200 kills. I'll level up each game. I'm currently using some terrible gun on Battlefield 1, trying to get 200 kills with it. And I like to use all weapons. I'm with you on that, mate, because I pretty much, to be honest, avoid the meta weapons. Like in Cold War, I've been playing recently with the Stoner, and it was Ben who introduced me to that, and I would probably have never pick that weapon. So I like to sort of try, swap and change, and I never try to do the meta at the end of the day. Alpha D, cringe, cheers mate, you're such a support, really appreciate that. But yeah, I know. But YouTube, I mean, I understand about fucking safe places and all this, but I honestly think it's gone a bit too far. You used to make content, you could do pretty much what you want, and I understand there's a corporate element to the company now, which is YouTube.
Yeah, which we built up, by the way.
Well, correct. I think that's what they forget. It's small creators that became big, that built up YouTube, that made YouTube what it is at the moment. I just find it a bit I'm going to say it, I find it a bit frightening that people are getting strikes for even swearing. Sometimes in the right context, swearing is not as offensive as I think sometimes it's made out to be.
I agree, and I think it's good to get a point across as well. If you want to try and get your point across, you might swear in it. I mean, I agree. Maybe it's not to everyone's taste, but I don't. It's language at the end of the day.
Correct.
People use it.
I mean, it's in the real world, so I mean, I hear more sort of gratuitous language on TV. Just want to say hello to Animal Mother, Grandad, you cheeky sod. I just want to say I probably hear more bad language on terrestrial television and Netflix and Amazon Prime. I mean, the way the C word comes out on television nowadays is ridiculous, but you pretty much say that on a YouTube video or on what we're doing now on a podcast, and you pretty much you might as well stand in a firing line.
I was going to say as well, don't you think it's funny, as we were talking then, it's like, don't you think it's funny how we have to adhere to not swearing on a YouTube video?
I know, because we had a chat
into a mic.
Correct. We had a chat obviously beforehand. Anyone who's done a podcast with us, we have a sort of podcast chat. And do you know what? I can't believe I'm actually saying I'm going to have to watch what I'm saying nowadays. I can't even swear, even if I don't mean it to be offensive, because sometimes, I'll make a comment and I'll swear because it's a natural thing to do in that context. I don't understand. YouTube for me has gone, probably the word I'm going to use is soft. It's adhering to rhetorics that didn't make this website what it is now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, Ben? Years ago you used to say what you want, and I understand there's got to be some sort of mediation. You can't just say what you want, and there's certain things that you can't offend. But what bothers me sometimes is that you're finding there's more and more things that you are going to be offensive to.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's made up like a few months ago that, and I can't even make a comment because I don't want to get this video struck down, or I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube because I like doing it. I don't make money from it. I just like doing it. So, but there's a lot of things that I'm thinking, shit, I didn't even know that was a thing fucking 2 months ago. So why am I getting penalised for that?
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, Animal Mother, I'm well, mate. Thanks very much for popping along to the stream. Really appreciate it. Sorry, Ben, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like you said, definitely about they change the rules every 5 minutes. I mean, there's a creator that, I mean, this is actually several creators actually, but I know Friendly Nikolai, because
decent guy, by the way.
Yeah, decent guy, and he makes really good content. And they changed the rules on basically for gaming channels. It's like to do with violence and stuff. So if you have like, I don't know,
violent gameplay
or a violent thumbnail, then basically YouTube can give limited ads on that video. And that had really negatively impacted his channel. And before that, he was getting like, I don't know, it was something like 40,000, 60,000, 100,000 views on per video.
Sure.
And then now it's, say, 1,000, 5,000, 8,000.
Shit, I get that.
Yeah. But that's the thing, because YouTube is because obviously it's an algorithm. So you're very reliant on YouTube making sure that it obviously serves the content to everyone. So YouTube is a platform that's constantly changing all the time, and you've got to adhere to all their rules. And I know there's people who don't read the terms and conditions, but
Hackerman, how you doing?
Because they're changing it so many times. It's like, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do this. And they're changing it all the time, and you don't realize how much it can affect you. And you look at other creators and you go, oh, yeah, they're affected. Oh, that won't happen to me. But you just never know.
It's happening. Yeah, it's definitely happening. If PewDiePie can get a strike, then we all need to worry. I mean, we were talking about 8 Thoughts, but we seriously all need to worry if someone like PewDiePie, probably one of the biggest earners for YouTube, and he's getting a strike. But
it's crazy, isn't it? It's mad.
And so you can't even really say it's all about money. It's all about money that YouTube want to make, because it's striking really, really big channels. Yeah. I think there is, I wouldn't say a clique, but there is certain content creators that can get away with stuff that other people can't.
Yeah. But you think that PewDiePie would get away with it, but obviously, like you said, maybe it's not all to do with money. Maybe
exactly. I don't think PewDiePie cares, to be honest. PewDiePie could walk away from YouTube, and he's set for life.
Yeah,
but you know, and like Animal Mother said there, I think these days everyone is offended by everything. How you doing, One Shot? And I think that's the case, and I don't think it should be brought to platforms like this that YouTube always prided themselves on. You know, what was the original sort of slogan, Ben? You said it earlier on. Broadcast yourself. So what does that say? Say yourself is something like this. We had some real bad shit on YouTube in years past, and I do understand stuff, you know, there's certain stuff that shouldn't be there, but if you're, you know, it's getting to a point, if you're slightly edgy, if you swear, or if you disagree with someone else that, you know, is not in YouTube's rhetoric, then pretty much that's you done.
But and it's the fact that they're not clear in the terms and conditions. It's like a whim. It's like,
I think so.
We'll just give you a strike because we just felt like it. It's like they don't really tell you.
Correct. And a lot of the time they just don't give you the reason that you have been banned, you've been shadow banned, your channel's down, you've got a strike. They don't give you any definitive reason why they've done it. And that I think that's a problem in itself.
Yeah. And maybe if they were a bit more open about that, and they actually told creators like, this is why we've banned you, and they gave you an answer to say, okay, if you do this again, then we will have to take your channel down. That's fair enough, because they've told you.
And they've give you prior warning. Yeah.
But if they're just saying, "Oh, we'll give you 3 bans. There you go. Your channel's gone." Like,
yeah, exactly. Without anything, without any explanation. Yeah. And El Smalley, how you doing, mate? Really nice to see you on the podcast tonight. Hackerman's lurking about. Obviously, we're talking tonight, for anyone who's just started watching, we're talking about YouTube, what we think's wrong, where we think it's going wrong, and how much it's actually changed. If you've just started watching us, please subscribe to Ben at No Cinematics. This is the usual 8:30 podcast UK time, and tonight we're talking about YouTube. Basically, there was an instance, just to tell people who've maybe just tuned in, that a content creator called 8 Thoughts was given 2 strikes for pretty much nothing. Me and Ben actually don't know. We've sort of analysed things. We've gone through the videos. The videos are not there anymore, but we both have watched the videos, and we're trying to suss out what did he say to actually warrant a strike? Because you didn't see it, did you, mate?
No. It's madness. I watched it because I like 8 Thoughts, in all fairness. I like his content, and I get his jokes as well. I know not everyone gets it because it's...
And he honestly does say, look, I'm joking.
Yeah, it's literally satire. Like, I understand his character, and I suppose if you don't understand his character, then you don't get the jokes. But he's taking the piss. It's like, he didn't... There was nothing there.
Seriously, nothing. Definitely nothing.
The same thing over and over again. Oh,
cheers, Hackerman.
This. He wasn't saying, "Oh, Jack Frags is bad," and "Oh, he's shit." And he even said, I just swore. Oh, YouTube.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, God, I didn't even realise.
But the problem is, Ben, he's got 2 strikes now. One more strike, and his channel's gone.
Yeah.
And the rules on paper say you can never make another YouTube channel.
And it's hard to get it back. It's hard
correct.
To get it. But okay, let's look at this though. He's got 308,000 subscribers. Imagine if that happened to one of us. How are we going to get back?
I know. We've grinded all this time. Do you know what I mean? No, they won't. They literally won't give a shit at the end of the day. I mean, we do these podcasts every Friday, 8:30 UK time, and we talk about things that are happening on the internet, generally in gaming. But then we'll sort of veer off into something like this, and I think it's a shame that people like you, Ben, like myself, like Chris at Christie Gaming Zone, Slavic and Stealth, all these people that are trying to just get there with the YouTube channel, and knowing at this moment in time, in this climate of YouTube, at this moment in time, that your channel could go like that. And you can get 3 strikes all at once. Yeah. I think that's an issue as well. And because what you said before, if I can just go back to that, Ben, is that they actually don't give you any reason. They don't give you any warning. It's just like, you've had 3 strikes, that's your channel gone.
Yeah, it's madness. It's mad. It's the transparency. There needs to be more transparency when you're given a strike. I don't think they actually understand. YouTube don't understand that people create these channels and they spend so much time on making the channel.
No idea. No idea.
And then they just go, oh, well, we didn't like that video.
So off you go.
Off you go. Just go.
I know.
Mate, go on. We don't agree with you, mate. So you offended us. We'll give you 3 strikes. We won't tell you why.
Correct.
And
correct.
I think that's okay.
And it's just not. And you know what the worst thing is, and I don't want to piss YouTube off, obviously, but the bottom line is, I don't think they realize how much you grind, how hard you've tried, and you've kept at it, and you've kept at it, and you've gone from like 1 sub, and you go to 100 subs, and then you get 5,000 subs like yourself, then 10. How hard it is to do that. And then there's so many barriers put in your way, because I don't know if anyone knows, it was only a couple of years ago you could monetize your channel at any amount. So I was monetized, and then all of a sudden it was 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours in 1 year. And
You don't have that, do you?
No,
You don't have monetization.
no, and do you know what? It doesn't bother me. I don't actually do it for the money. I actually,
but I mean for your videos,
I would like it.
Because it helps, apparently, having monetization, like YouTube.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because
Does it?
Obviously, they want to make money off your videos, so I think they'd probably promote someone more if they've got ads on the video, whereas someone
because that will make them a slice of that money. I understand. So. I don't know if anyone NS Smiley, we can't see that comment, mate, because YouTube blocks it from being put on there. Let's, you know what, I'm going to show it.
Show it.
If I was playing a game, I couldn't show that in the chat because I couldn't come off. But you know what really bothers me is I don't think how much they understand that, like, people like yourself, people like me, I take this really seriously. I mean, they don't understand shit like, you've just bought a new mic. Yeah. The amount of gear I've got in this room, I could have I bought a new motorbike today, by the way. I could have had fucking 3 or 4 of them things just out of the stuff I've got in this room. They don't understand the amount of money because, smaller YouTube creators think they would possibly make that they put into their channel before they're actually making any money from it. I don't think they understand that. And then
45% as well off the ads.
Shit, I didn't think it was that much, mate.
Yeah,
45%.
Yeah, and I make 55%.
Oh shit, that's my channel ban now.
I know. Mate, we swore twice, I think, now.
I know.
Probably in the podcast. So, but yeah, they take 45% and they do fuck all. Oh.
I know. They let you do what you want to do.
Yeah, on
YouTube, as long as it adheres to their rhetoric.
I do apologise.
Which shit? It's all right. It's all right. Bottom line is, if you get a strike, I get a strike because they're not going to like people talking about this subject anyway. Yeah. So if I get a strike, I get a strike. I definitely wouldn't want to lose my channel, obviously.
Well, though, Devlin, like that was. Like, we swore, that you swore, I swore, but that was just because we were trying to get our opinion across.
It wasn't gratuitous. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, again, that's where YouTube is like, it's ridiculous. Like, you should be able to swear if you want. And I think they're trying to make it like TV. We were talking about this earlier, but they're trying to make it too much like TV now. Whereas YouTube,
Ben, what's Odyssey?
Odyssey.
It's One Shot's put...
Yeah, I know what Odyssey is.
Is that another platform? Or?
Yeah, they're another like YouTube, and they've
got
this other one called.
And there lies in the problem. There's no challenge for YouTube at the moment.
Yeah,
it's like Twitch has sewn down the streaming. YouTube. I mean, you've got places like Vimeo and other places that do a great job, but I think the likes of YouTube and the likes of Twitch have got the monopoly. If you're not on one of those, it's not going to work. Me and you actually went and made videos for a mobile company. Remember that we were making videos for a mobile company? Amino, and we were making videos and we were getting like $40 or something every video. It was great, but it was boring because
it though, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. And then we sort of did one. But there's no one to challenge these platforms. And I think
I agree.
Even though they haven't got a monopoly in the fact that they're the sort of not letting other people do what they do, because I think that's how monopolies work, that you've got to let other people have an equal chance of doing what you do. It's just that because they're so established that there's nothing at the moment that can make any difference, any change to what's going on at the moment. So it seems like they think and they actually do exactly what they want to do.
They do well, exactly, mate. They know they can do it because there's no one. No, I mean it's hard to set up a video creation site that's going to go viral.
Brime tried.
Well, yeah, you're never going to do it because you ain't got the money.
No,
YouTube know this. They know,
because it's not like it used to be in days past where you could just start a website and hope it sort of clicked and went off.
Exactly.
But
you're not going to be able to do it. And YouTube are basically laughing because they're just like, oh, you want to start your own site? Good luck.
Yeah. Off you go then.
Off you go. Do it then. But see, this is the thing. I love YouTube. I think it's one of the better.
So do I.
I think it's great. But there's just so much shit that they do that you just go,
there's so many restrictions.
Why are you doing this? Like, we've built you up. We've basically made your platform, and now you're going. Oh,
correct.
We don't care anymore.
Correct.
We'll just do whatever we want.
Correct.
Oh, we've got all the money, but it's not. It's well.
So here's the thing. Why wouldn't you think that they would possibly say, look, this guy, say for argument's sake, because we were talking about 8 Thoughts before. Yeah. So you've got 8 Thoughts. Let's put him in a category where if you don't like that shit, you do not watch it. And if you watch it, then it's your fault because you specifically went over there to watch it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And unless you sort of, because you get an option when you put a video up of where you want it to go as such. Yeah. So we put gaming or something like that. Yeah. Why not give us an option to put in, look, this is quite a delicate subject. I would like it to go in this section because I would not like these people to get offended by what I am saying. So maybe if they did something like that, then you know what I mean, then it will never be 100% bulletproof, but at least you would have that option and you could say, look, I actually said to people, do not watch this video because I am talking about this subject. I know you don't like it. So if you come there, then it's your fault, not my fault.
I 100% agree with you there, and I think YouTube were basically trying to do that with. Have you seen where they say made for kids or something?
Yeah.
That section. Yeah. I think you raise a really good point there. I think they should do a section where you can just say, basically,
just for edgy.
But you know what I mean? Like, just
exactly.
Trigger warning. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, just say, trigger content.
Yeah, if it triggers you, don't watch it, and it's like only show it to the certain people that I don't know on their account.
Correct.
They don't mind being triggered.
Correct. Because you know what? Sometimes, Ben, I think these people are people who disagree with other people. Specifically go and watch that so they can complain about stuff that they don't want to see, but they go and see it anyway. They go and look. It's the same on Twitter, mate, that people will complain about content that they don't like, but you see them complaining about the same subject over and over again. So sometimes I personally think that they go and look for that content.
They do. Yeah, 100%. They're looking out for it and they're moaning about having to see that content, but they're looking out for it. But whereas YouTube can go, okay, well, maybe this is how it's going to have to be done if we're going to have YouTube have something, interesting content on there.
Steve McQueen's born triggered.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, maybe we've got to have in our accounts now. We've got to say, I don't mind triggered content or 18 plus or whatever.
Sure, exactly.
Whatever has to be done to just allow this sort of content. Okay, maybe it's not going to reach out as much a bigger of an audience than maybe you would have had before, because, like you said, there's people on the internet that for whatever reason, like searching out for content that they don't agree with,
and they will specifically look out for that sort of content.
For it. Yeah. Okay, even if it doesn't get as much views, but I think they should be allowed. You should be allowed to have creators like 8 Thoughts or people that want to make more edgy content.
Definitely,
let them have it, but maybe you have to tailor the rules to go. I don't mind triggered content or whatever has to be done.
Correct.
Instead of banning them.
even at the beginning of a video, you have to tick something that says, look, this content creator will include this, and this. And before you upload the video, you have to tick, yes, my video includes this, and this. If you don't want to hear this content, or you don't agree with this content, click no, that you don't want to hear this content or see this content, because if you click yes, I want to watch it, you have no right to complain or flag it. Do you know what I mean?
You hit the nail on the head there. Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Maybe something like that, some sort of algorithm that says that, because it's getting to the right. I'm not gonna say the W word, but I am gonna say a W word. Okay. I'm gonna say YouTube has become very, very weak in the last couple of years. Yeah. I honestly believe that they are going to come to a point where the only people that are using YouTube, the only people that are going to watch YouTube are very no, they are not weak, but what I'm going to say is that the content is going to be very weak. It's not. It's going to be boring. It's not. You're going to have no, interaction. You're going to have no debate. You're going to have no arguments. No one's going to, it's going to be all roses and fucking unicorns and rainbows. That's not fun. That's not the website that we all sort of bought into. I don't know.
Do they not understand the audience of YouTube? Like, all right, let's be honest. Like, people who watch YouTube, like, there's a certain... the overarching people who watch YouTube, they don't mind if they get triggered or anything. Like, I watch so many videos, and like, I mean, like the default sort of YouTube is like, they don't mind this sort of content, but YouTube would just come in and go, oh no, we want to make sure everyone's safe and everything like that. But they don't understand the people who are using that.
Which is fine. That is fine. That, totally fine.
Maybe make that, like we were talking about, how I know it sounds ridiculous, but like have a triggered section, edgy content, but maybe that's what has to be done, because maybe that's the only thing that can be like YouTube goes, well,
no, Steve, I'm not saying his name. I'm not saying it. I'll get banned off YouTube.
Well, the thing is, what we were talking about, I think maybe that has to be done. We have different sections.
I think it would. If I think, and do you know what? I think they get a surprise that people who, for arguments, we're calling it the triggered section. So we'll go there. I'll probably get in a load of trouble for this fucking video tonight anyway. So let's say there's a section where there's content that you are asked to sort of agree to watch because it's not in YouTube's rhetoric, but because they are a decent website and they like free speech for everyone, there's a section for it. Now, if you decide to go into that section, then it's your fault. You don't have the option to flag that video, complain about that video, because you made a choice to actually go in there.
That's a great point. I'm glad you brought
Steve's
that point.
Fuck off.
That's a really good point. I could see that YouTube could do that.
Of course they could.
And stop.
Don't think they will, but they could.
They won't do it, but I think YouTube could do it, and they could make a section like that. I know we said triggered section, but they could obviously title it something like that.
And we're saying, and look, please don't get triggered by that. We're just having a joke, satire. Just a section where there's going to be sensitive or offensive content that you might not like, and the content possibly includes this, and this. I'm not saying it because I'll probably get in trouble. Correct.
Yeah, so it can still live on YouTube, and you don't have to ban the creator, but you'll
still get advertisers that don't get offended so much by content like that, because we all use stuff like VPNs, regardless, where we stand on politics, where we stand on whatever. People like VPN advertisers or advertisers of clothing or advertisers of whatever will choose to put some of their ads in there. I'm sure they would.
Yeah,
I'm sure they would.
You might not make as much money, okay,
Yeah.
if you were going into that section, because obviously, like a big
You'd only get a
company-
specific sort of set
but
of people.
you would still make money. But I think the creator who's making content, because obviously there's got to be drawbacks and stuff, because obviously anything like this, you'd have to have drawbacks. So the creator would know that they're not going to make maybe as much money if they were going into this section, but at least it allows them to still make money. You could still have the join button, which could give the creator more money there, so people who enjoyed the content could support them. But they'd understand that, maybe they're not going to make as much money off ads, but they could still have their content and it would still be on YouTube, and they wouldn't just get banned for no reason. So I think that'd be a good that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe YouTube are missing out on something there. If you have to, and I think it's bad that you have to segregate shit. But
I know.
But if it's that climate at the moment, and like we both said, YouTube is it's actually a really good platform for people like you and people like me. I mean, my channel's changed an awful lot in the last few years. I mean, I love doing these podcasts, and we both like doing it. And people swapping change and what they're actually doing on their YouTube channel, and the content changes, and some people start off doing it when they're 15, 16 years old, and when they get older they really change, because you get a young person and they'll adhere to whatever's the main thing that's going on at the moment, and then they'll get to an age, they sort of turn into an adult, and they think, actually, I don't know what I was doing there, because I don't actually agree with that. People grow up, people have different ideas to what maybe YouTube have and what other people have. So I think YouTube should start respecting everyone's identity, not just specific identities.
I think that's a great point, and they'd get a big pat on the back as well, because
I think
you'd also stop all the other competition as well, because you just say, well, we've got it all here,
and we do everything.
Do everything, so there wouldn't be need for Odyssey and Rumble as well. I know.
I've never heard of Odyssey, to be honest.
That's like.
I might go and check it out.
Wow. And they've got things like BitChute as well.
Do a video. But did BitChute not really do it? I don't know. I know people who are on there.
I know. Like, people go on BitChute, but BitChute's, I mean, it's nowhere near as good as YouTube. Like the interface and stuff, it's just it's miles off. And
is it?
Yeah, and that's just down to funding it. It's basically like YouTube about 10 years ago.
Right. Okay.
It's not quite there, and you don't have all the features. And I just think YouTube is a better platform overall, but the censorship is the biggest thing. But it's so easy to fix. Like we said, you can have different sections for different creators, and I think that just seems like the best thing to do. But
so where do you think it all came from, Ben? When did all this happen? Because for me, it's been in the last 18 months. I know you might disagree with me, but I think just recently, it's like, the fuck is going on?
I'll tell you when I think it happened. I think it happened about 2015, 2016.
That far back?
Yeah. It wasn't in the last 18 months. This has been a gradual thing.
It's got aggressive in the last 18 months. So.
Yeah, like 2015 is when all this sort of censorship and people calling for things to be cancelled and all that sort of stuff. That was about 2015, 2016, because I'd probably assume that's maybe because my generation, that's when they started getting older and started calling for stuff like this.
Talk to me about old.
Well, the thing is, it's like, I mean, in my generation, I'm probably the minority in how I think, because a lot of people in my generation.
I understand. Don't go there. I understand.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But that's just that's just how it is, and that's I'd say it's about 2015, 2016. YouTube started to listen to those sort of voices, and basically now it's just been a sort of spiral downwards. But that's not just YouTube though, so I don't actually blame YouTube. I know obviously there's a lot of people that would go, "Oh no, it's YouTube's fault," but at the end of the day, it's YouTube responding to, like, we see this with everything. It's not just YouTube; it's every single company.
Definitely see what you're saying.
YouTube, it's YouTube responding as a big company owned by Google, who are trying to make us maximize
the Alphabet Corporation.
That's it, yeah, and they're responding to that, thinking, okay, we're a big company, we want to maximize our profits, so we'll do whatever basically we're told. So this is just companies adapting, and it's not just YouTube.
But it's adapting aggressively against one particular set of people, which, this is what bothers me. But One Shot was just saying there, Ben, Odyssey is a crypto earning site. And then he said, since the Donald came to power. Fuck's sake.
Well, this is the thing. And but
shouldn't laugh, I'll get banned on YouTube.
I'll get banned, yeah. But the thing is, it's not, in my opinion, it's not just YouTube. I think it's just
it's in general, I think, isn't it, Ben?
It's general. It's not just YouTube. I don't think you can even put blame on YouTube. I think they're doing what any company would do because they don't fully understand. I mean, I always think this, we are the minority. We are the majority, actually, in my opinion, like the voice and how we want things to be, but they always listen to the minority. Just how it goes. And that's just the way of the world. And it's not a YouTube thing. It's a worldwide thing.
It's actually not a country thing now, but it is a worldwide thing.
Worldwide, it's just everywhere. And I think people just have to understand that's just the way of the world. And you got to understand these are companies, and they're just going to react to what they see and what the media are saying. And it goes bigger than just like one company. I think it's much bigger.
And again, I'll say, and it's one of my favourite words at the moment, it's the rhetoric of whatever the thing is at the moment. I'm not totally a dick. I understand, and there's a lot of issues out there, and there's a lot of subjects that people need to talk about, but don't strangle other people's opinions just because you have an opinion that doesn't, it's not the same as the other person's opinion. Sit down and debate with these people. Don't scream and shout at each other. Sit down and debate. A lot of people say I'm an arse, I'm very salty about certain things, but I always actively encourage people to come and debate me. Come and sit down and talk to me.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong and you can prove me wrong and you can, make me look at something in a different way, then I'll turn around and say, yes, I will look at something in a different way and I was wrong, and I'll be the first one to admit that. But sit there and scream and shout in my face, and it won't make any difference. It'll just make me look at you as a more weaker person.
Exactly. And I just want to say, like, this is the thing. I mean, just not to get too political, because obviously,
please don't. I'll get banned.
We're in a tense situation, tense climate. And, the big divide between the left and the right. I'm more of a centrist, but I'd lean towards right.
I lean to the right, I must admit.
And the thing is, it's my generation that's, and I don't want to bash my own generation, but it is mainly my generation that's the issue, really. And maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just because that's the people that we see, and maybe they are the minority. But I could go into this for ages.
See where you're going with that One Shot.
The thing is, it's like when you were talking about debates and stuff, it's like we can't have that sort of debate because we're too worried about offending people and whether they're going to be triggered and safe spaces. And
but this is where I think this is where YouTube would excel, though.
I agree with you. Maybe this should be the thing that promotes that sort of debate and stuff. I think that'd be a great thing, but they don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Is it
But
gonna affect their bottom line?
if you look at what Cheeky's just said then, now, come on, honestly, people nowadays get emotional for no reason because their insight on an opinion that they can see they're wrong. I don't know if you're saying this, Cheeky, that they know they're wrong. They're shouting their opinion, but they can't turn around and say, look, I understand what you're saying over there on the right, over there on the left, over there on the middle, but I'm not going to admit that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what he was trying to say, but or can't handle another person's ideology because he's totally right there, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I don't like bashing my own generation, but it's our generation that can't understand other people's opinions because I hate getting too political, but we've fostered this sort of environment basically where we can't allow our generation to be exposed to other opinions because we think they're going to get too offended, and we have these safe spaces. And universities, I mean, a terrible thing for really indoctrinating kids and telling them this is the way of thinking. And then, I mean, universities don't actually foster debate or anything like that. That's a separate issue. But the fact,
I think it all depends on the country you're in, though, Ben.
Yeah, maybe
I do.
Western countries like the US and the UK, I know, is bad for universities and stuff. But it's just we're not really fostering this debate, and this is where YouTube can go, well, okay, maybe we can be the person that kind of help start this, but nobody seems to want to do it. And
because I don't think, because you know how you know what it's like at school, you know what it's like at university, you go against the what the in thing is, and you're the pariah, you're the person you know, the odd one out. I don't think that, I mean, you'd have to be a really, really strong person to go against that. And you do get these people, and then they end up with no friends or whatever. It doesn't give a flying fuck to me, to be honest. But
you just have to be what I always did.
Strong enough.
I was just in between, so I was like, sort of, I'd be a little bit outspoken, but I would, because maybe this is what a lot of people.
You were careful in your
in how I said things.
But that's sad, to be honest.
You shouldn't have to do that. I totally agree. I'm not disagreeing with you, and I think it's wrong. But again, it's my it's my generation. But well, it's not just our fault though, because obviously it's the parents that that are obviously with the people that grew, like, helped our generation. But it's just, I think it's just how we were brought up to think that, everyone's got to be a winner, and if someone debates you, we don't want to do debates because it might offend someone, and if we do a debate, then we don't want winners and losers. And this is how all our generation is. I feel like I'm bashing my sort of generation, which is like people who are like 20 or onwards or something, like between 20 and 25.
Actually, there's some decent comments there, Ben. One shot, I just want to say, appreciated, mate. He actually said, I'm so on the correct channel right now. Look, I'm not going to be the person I am. I'm going to say it as it is, regardless if it's about gaming, regardless if it's about what I think personally. I just have to be very careful. I can't, if I want to keep my YouTube channel, I have to be careful. And Cheeky said, you're supposed to go to school to learn, not be singled out because you're playing along with people's idiotic ideology. Absolutely, totally agree.
Yeah, I
totally agree.
I agree. And I mean, it's just that you have like I've met people who are like radical in being like left and stuff, and I've had conversations with them, and they don't agree with stuff that I say, and they get really offended with what I say. And
there's nothing, Ben, can I just say, there's nothing wrong with being left wing. It's just that you're not that. And I personally think that sometimes that, it doesn't matter about being left wing, right wing, right in the middle. It just, It's all to do about if you can have a civil conversation, a civil debate, and all like respect other people's opinions. I lean to the right. People who know me and the people who watch my YouTube channel, I do lean to the right. It's as simple as that. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, you just don't like it.
It's just don't like it. And I actually enjoy conversations with people that I don't agree with, like politically. Like I mean,
totally agree, Hackerman.
That I have friends that are left wing and quite radically.
I live with a family that's totally left wing.
Really, and you
totally.
You have those conversations where, you know, they don't really listen to what you're saying, but I just like listening to what they have to say and why they think that, and I try and give my opinion for why I don't agree with them. But we've got to the point where it's like they kind of go to the point where, oh, your opinion is offensive and my opinion is correct, and I'm not going to listen to you. My opinion is God, and it's the correct thing. You've got to listen to me. But why can't you listen to my opinion? Why is my opinion offensive and your opinion's good? When did that happen? Like,
I have no idea. I have no idea.
The correct opinion and my opinion become.
Can I ask you, Ben, because we're getting close to closing the stream tonight. Can I ask you, say for argument's sake, if you had a debate with someone who doesn't personally agree with your political things or YouTube or whatever, would you take time to actually sit there and have a conversation with them? And if you agreed with it, do you think you would be man enough to say, look, I was wrong?
100%. I mean, like I said, I'm a centrist mainly, and I lean towards the right. I'm a centrist, but I lean towards the right.
Yeah.
But if someone gives me a bit, because like when I listen to someone, like I change my opinion all the time. Like
totally agree. One shot.
Static. Like it just kind of, I don't have a set.
It can shift.
It can shift. And if someone says to me, okay, I'm going to present my argument, and their argument is better than mine, then I'll go, fair enough, and I'll just. Like, there's been plenty of times when I've had conversations with other people that are left wing, and they tell me something, and I go, okay, that I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand where you're coming from. Your opinion makes sense, and I see that you're coming from a good place. But then there's obviously times when I've been like, mate, that's a bit.
You're a dick.
You're a bit over the top there. But I'm not going to be rigid in my thinking. And I think that's the problem with a lot of left wingers. But also there's people on the right as well who have rigid thinking. But I see it a lot on the left as well, where they have this rigid ideology. And if you try and give them an argument, like you said, would I actually admit that I was wrong? Yes, I would.
I would, personally.
But on the left, I see a lot where I'll give them an opinion and they'll go, it doesn't matter what I say to them. They're not listening. They're just hearing the words and going, I disagree. But or they'll go, oh, it's offensive or whatever. So it's hard to have a conversation. You have to be very careful what you say and stuff. And that shouldn't be.
It shouldn't actually make a difference. It shouldn't come into the equation, to be honest.
No.
So Ben, I think we've had a good night tonight. It's nearly the end of the stream. We went from YouTube to politics, but you know what? I enjoyed it tonight, and you know what I enjoyed? The fact that people in the chat were, making contributions. Regardless if you're right wing, in the middle, left wing, it really doesn't matter. I don't think that YouTube should take a stance either way, and I think they should look at things more constructively, and I don't think they should let the bots do the job for them, because I think 8 Thoughts videos were taken down because people were just click, reporting the video and disliking the video, so the bot or the algorithm said we don't like that, so we're going to take
don't
it
like
down.
that.
And he's going to have to fight that himself. And I think people forget that that's his living. So anyway, next week, I think we're going to have a guest on. Hopefully Josh has been watching tonight, and it's the evolution of gaming from, should we say, the 90s right up to now, how gaming has been going. I think it would be interesting. It might be less political, to be honest. So we'll probably talk about things like games, PCs, consoles, the evolution of gaming from, back in the 90s, right up to where we are now. But we've had a pretty much half decent stream, to be honest. Ben, your thoughts on tonight before we sort of close it off?
Yeah, but really enjoyed it tonight. It's been a really good stream, actually. I think we had like the start of it. We were talking about like YouTube and 8 thoughts, and then we
politics.
Politics. Everyone loves a bit of politics. Very divisive, isn't it? But good stream. Really enjoyed it.
Cheers, Ben. And I want to say just thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight. And I'm going to say something really stupid, but Father Christmas is out.